And this is why I flew. So I met generals I didn't know. General 1, General 2, General 3. I mean, these generals, there's no person in Hollywood that could play the role. These guys are like perfect people. I said, "What's your name?" "Sir, my name is Raisin." "What the hell kind of a name?" I said, "Raisin, like the fruit?" He goes, "Yes, sir, Raisin." "What's your last name?" "Kane, Raisin Kane." I said, "You gotta be kidding." It's true. Raisin Kane, I just made him a big star. Just like I did with Mattis when I said, "We're gonna give you a new nickname," because Chaos is not a good nickname. So we changed his name. Called him Mad Dog. But it wasn't working.
Good evening. I'm Fred Wellman, host of Online with VoteVets. This is breaking news from VoteVets. We wanted to jump online and talk to you guys about the astounding of events of a Friday night. It's a Friday night massacre at the Pentagon in the most disgusting possible way. That man, Donald J. Trump, has nominated Raisin Kane to be the next chairman of the Joint Chiefs, has made him the next chairman of the Joint Chiefs, by firing the existing chairman of the Joint Chiefs in a Friday night tweet or Truth Social post. In addition, more has come out in the last few minutes as we were preparing to go live to talk to you guys about this. We want to tell you what we know at VoteVets, share our philosophy and our belief on what this means for the United States military and national security. I'll preview that by saying it's really effing bad. This is outrageous. It's unacceptable. It's a massive politicization of the United States military. And how do you know it's a politicization of the United States military? Trump was telling these Raisin Kane stories in 2019, and he's brought the new guy back from retirement. So we've got a lot to talk about. Let's get on with the discussion. Hey, welcome back. I'm Fred Wellman. Yeah, it's a late Friday night. We've all taken a break. It's 8:30 on the East Coast. I'm in Missouri. JJ's in California. We had to talk about this. This is insane news, okay? So breaking tonight, as I mentioned, Trump in a Truth Social post this evening, a lengthy one, has fired Chair of the Joint Chiefs, C.Q. Brown. He is only the second African-American chairman of the Joint Chiefs. Obviously, interestingly enough, Trump had nothing but praise for C.Q. Brown when he nominated him to be the chief of staff of the Air Force during his first term in office. Now he's changed his mind. This is the statement he put out. He thanks him for his outstanding service. He's honored to put in General Dan Raisin Kane. This is where it goes off the rails. It takes you about 2 paragraphs in Trump land to go off the rails. In off rails, it goes, he says, he was instrumental in the annihilation of the ISIS caliphate. At the time, I believe General Kane was the deputy commander of the Special Operations Joint Task Force there. Many so-called geniuses said it would take years. Kane said otherwise. And then the nut is the 4th paragraph. He's highly respected, but Sleepy Joe passed him over for the Joint Chiefs. Look, there's a million reasons you get promoted to the Joint Chiefs. It's the highest, the pinnacle of military service. Okay, thousands and thousands of officers compete over 40 years to be that. It isn't because Sleepy Joe passed him over. It's because your record needed here or there. There's a lot to talk about here. The last paragraph, we'll talk about that more. He solicited 5 more nominations. So this is a lot. We wanted to put it in perspective for you. I think we have a statement about it from VoteVets officially. Here's our statement from our senior advisor and mentor, Major General retired Paul Eaton. He says, the move of a weak and insecure tyrant, not a strong commander-in-chief. Firing senior military leaders for political reasons is a reckless, dangerous step that will directly harm military readiness and stability. Right now, our allies and our enemies alike are watching Donald Trump undermine our ability to defend against global threats. Unfortunately, this move will have far-reaching consequences for the future of the United States military, which we will talk about. Our military is the strongest, most lethal fighting force in the world, due in part to its apolitical leadership committed to defend the Constitution from all enemies, foreign and domestic. Look, it goes on to say about the brave men and women who serve our country in uniform. They do it through committed their national security, not personal political interest. Now, here we are, yet again, Donald Trump has proven his inability to lead that type of leader. History will not only judge this move, but those who remain silent in its wake. And that is not us. So I want to put this little perspective for you, okay, and understand what we did. Quickly, the chair of the Joint Chiefs is a senior military advisor to the commander in chief. He's not the commander of the armed forces, contrary to popular belief. General C.Q. Brown had a distinguished 40-year career. He's a fighter pilot, as they usually are in that business. He's been around. He is an incredible leader. Everyone respected, incredibly respected leader. But you got to look back. Hegseth has had a target on his back for quite a while. Hegseth wrote in his book that he previously said General Brown should be fired someday because of his, quote, woke focus on diversity, equity, and inclusion programs in the military. Hegseth wrote in his book, first of all, you got to fire, or actually he said this on a podcast, forgive me. He said, first of all, you got to fire the chair of the Joint Chiefs, he said, in the Sean Ryan show. He had any general involved with DEI efforts should be fired. Either you're in for war fighting and that's it. He's the only litmus case we care about. So we knew he had a target in the back for CQ Brown. This isn't a shock. It's just outrageous. But, here's the thing. And here's the Trump administration in a nutshell. It's Friday night, y'all. General Brown was not actually even in the Pentagon today. He was down at the border supervising our troops doing this ridiculous border security mission, which is nothing but video fodder for propaganda because it's a 2,900-mile border and a couple thousand troops aren't making a damn bit of difference. That's what he was doing. And Trump, in his typical weak, shameless way, fired a 4-star general, has dedicated his entire lifetime, his adult life of 40 years to the United States military. He fired him in a Truth Social post. That's who Donald Trump is. A weak, petty, cowardly, shameless man. And he's only backed up by a weak, cowardly, shameless Secretary of Defense and Pete Hegseth. I don't know. I think we have to skip ahead. So let's show a picture of who Raising Cane is. I think we got a second video. Trump goes on to tell of his love for General Dan Raising Cane, or John Dan Raising Cane. Do you have that video, JJ? Of
Leave this thing. So I have Raising Cane, 3 other generals, colonels, sergeants, and I said, bring the cameras. I'm going to make a movie. This is the most incredible thing. And I said to the generals, listen, we got to get out. I want to know, why is it going to take 2 years to knock off 2 or 3 or 4%, which is what we had left? It won't, sir. I said, tell me why it won't. It won't, sir. If we attack them in a different manner, we can do it much faster. Okay, General Raising Cane, how fast can... Sir, we can have it totally finished in 1 week. I said, 1 week? I was told 2 years. 1 week. That's right, sir. We're only hitting them from a temporary base in Syria. But if you gave us permission, we could hit them from the back, from the side, from all over, from the base that you're right on right now, sir. They won't know what the hell hit them. They won't know what the hell hit them, sir. And I said, why didn't my other generals tell me that? Why didn't they tell me that? I said, did you tell them that? Not our place to say it, sir. They come in from Washington, sir. We have to take orders. You're the first one to ask us our opinion. True. It's true.
Yeah, that's not true. Not even close to true. It wasn't true in 2019. It's even less true today, but that's Trump for you right there. Obviously, that's not how the military chain of command works. That's not how briefings work. That's not how any of this works. Yet here we are in 2025. That General Raising Cane is now going to be the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, coming out of retirement. And that's the most significant part you have to think about as well. He didn't pick someone who's currently in active duty. He pulled someone, and we don't know a lot of details yet. But if you don't think that General Cane was a supporter of Donald Trump in this last political election, I've got a bridge to sell you. So without a question, he's probably pulling in a political supporter to be the next chairman of the Joint Chiefs, pulling him in from the civilian world to be in charge of our entire United States military. But wait, there's more, as they like to say, because it is Friday night. So Pete Hegseth, the shameless man we mentioned earlier, just as we were getting ready to go live, put out this press release expounding deeper on the firing of General Brown. While he also talks about General Brown being fired, he talks about General Cane embodying the warfighter ethos, exactly what we need. But here's where it gets ugly. I mentioned to you at the end of that post from Truth Social that Trump said that he asked for recommendations for 5 more jobs. Hegseth's got the knife for that. They will be firing Chief of Naval Operations Lisa Franchetti, who has also got 40 years of service, and the Vice Chief of Staff of the Air Force, General Sylvie, will be fired as well. James C. Slythe, Vice Chief of Staff. And we don't have pictures, but they are firing all three of the Judge Advocate Generals of the Army, Navy, and Air Force. All three. Now, why would you fire the Judge Advocate Generals of the United States military, the three major services of the United States military? That's the lawyers. So in one night, on a Friday night, in a cowardly fashion, in the dark of night, they fired the chair of the Joint Chiefs, the Chief of Naval Operations for the United States Navy, the first woman to hold that position, of course, the Vice Chief of Staff of the Air Force. We don't know the reason for that one yet. And all three of the senior lawyers of the armed services. That is exactly what we feared when we thought Donald Trump would take office. We thought Project 2025 would be enacted and the military would be used in illegal ways. Look, there's only one reason you fire the lawyers, folks. The same reason you fire the IGs, the inspector generals, because you don't want people telling you no. And the lawyer's job, the JAG's job, is to tell you no when nobody else will do it. You know, I was a public affairs officer in the Army, and my best friend in our headquarters, and I worked at 3- and 4-star headquarters for the latter part of my last 3 or 4 years of my career, was spent at the Pentagon or in Iraq. And the job I had was to tell the boss bad news. And my best friend in that job was the lawyer. And me and the lawyer would go to see the boss, be it 3-star General David Petraeus or Tommy, oh my gosh, whoever it may be. I had 3 3-star generals in Iraq, for God's sake. We would go in, General Marty Dempsey, for example, I'd be the chairman of the Joint Chiefs. Me and the JAG would be the ones bringing the bad news. We were the ones telling them that something illegal had happened or something bad is going to happen. That was our job. That's the only reason you fire the lawyers. So that's buried in there very quietly amongst the large one. I think that was a tactic to announce a great fanfare that CQ Brown had been fired. But I also think the hidden part of that, and the one that should run your blood cold, is the 3 JAGs being fired at the same time. We'll have to watch. They didn't give names for who they were nominating for those jobs yet. But there's no other way to describe this than a Friday night massacre at the Pentagon, in the most disgusting and cowardly way to do it. And that's just the only way to say it. They're going to spin this. They're going to try and frame it no other way. But what's happened tonight is a major breach of our national security. And let me explain why, and then I'll let you guys go. We don't want to keep you all night. But let's be very clear about what this means for national security. This is a gross politicization of the United States military. And the way the military goes, you don't build a general over a couple of years. You don't hire someone out of the civilian world, on contrary to bringing a retiree back. But even General Kane has like 35 years of service. Okay, generals are born. Today's lieutenant is the next 40 years away from now, the general. Okay, today's lieutenant colonel is 20 years from now. And I know from my own experience, if you're the mid-grade and your family is struggling, because by the way, they just cut telework for military, for the government jobs. As your family struggles to keep jobs, you have to make a key decision at the 20-year mark if you're going to stay in and serve your country or get out. And when you see things like this, that you can serve, imagine being a black officer today, being a woman officer today. Would you stay under Donald J. Trump or wherever the future of the military looks like, knowing that all it takes is a change of president who doesn't like a statement you made a year ago or 2 years ago about DEI to get you fired? They've always been mad at CQ Brown because he did an article talking about the racist things that occurred to him as a black officer in the Air Force. Ever since then, the rights had it out for him. Ever since then. They've always had it out for Admiral Franchetti because she's a woman and the first woman in naval operation to be the CNO. So why would you serve in that military? So the danger to our national security, folks, isn't just the next 4 years on this buffling food, this bumbling idiot who plays golf all day, and President Musk, who's firing people willy-nilly. And by the way, they also announced they plan to fire 5,800 civilian employees in the next week just because they're not performing, which is a lie. But the danger is 20 years from now. The danger is 40 years from now. People who say, you know what? This ain't for me. And it's not the MAGA side of it or the liberal side of it. It's saying, I want to serve an apolitical job, serve my country without fear or favor, without any kind of politics involved. And today, in the most brazen fashion I would almost argue it probably the history. And here's guys, so I'm going to arm you with some talking points of your MAGA friends. They're going to say, well, it's the president's job he can fire people. That's true. They're going to say, well, we fired generals in wartime. We fired generals during World War II. Yes, for tactical inefficiencies or tactical failures. It wasn't in peacetime because they wrote a speech about DEI. And it sure as hell wasn't because you had to be the top lawyer and you told the commander in chief he can't use troops to shoot protesters in the legs. But that's what happened today. This is the grossest politicization of the United States military possibly in our history. And you're witnessing it live. And the next phase gets very, very scary, folks. So we want to go live with you and talk to you. I don't know if anybody has any questions. I see so many of you in the comments, some of you joining us live. There will be a lot more breaking news. I'm here, so I can't see. This is very, very dangerous. This is hit the bulwarks dangerous. If you're not calling your congressman now, if you're not calling your senators now, you need to. This is the time. And let me tell you, you better be calling your Republican senators and congressmen. You better let them know that the idea that the United States military has now been gutted in a Friday night news release by two cowardly men, you are failing. So do your duty as a citizen right now. That is our call to action, because they need to know that we as Americans do not accept the politicization of our military in a way like this. This is really bad. Okay. And I think we can see it from there. I'm not going to keep you all night. That is the big news. Again, we're going to review this for you. If those who are just joining us, so many are still joining us, the numbers are still going up. My God, thanks for seeing us on a Friday night. They do answer the phones. They do leave a message. They have to log your call. They have to log what you were calling about, the subject. If they don't answer at one, call the district office. If they don't answer their district office, call their Washington office. Go knock on the district office door and say, I don't accept this. You guys saw what happened down in Georgia last night when they foolishly had a town hall. Tell them how you feel, folks. Public pressure works, and it will work now. But this is a very serious breach of our national security and the future of our country, so you take it seriously. In the meantime, I got sidetracked. I was going to tell you because I saw your moment. This is a very big deal, and I don't mean to sound hype. I am stressed about this. I served 28 years in the United States Army. My son served. My son-in-law still serves. My father served. Matter of fact, not to be weird, but Wellmans have served in the United States military since before there was a country. One of my ancestors got picked up by the British as they marched through town on the way to fight in French Canada. Okay, the French and Indian War. That's how long military service has been part of my DNA, and I'm horrified by what I'm seeing tonight. The idea that the commander-in-chief and the Secretary of Defense, completely unqualified Secretary of Defense, could just fire men and women who have given their lives to this country, given their families to this country, given their mental and physical health to this country. They're treated with such disdain that they simply put a little tweet or a true social post out on a Friday night at 8 p.m., destroying their careers. That's where we are. And we should all be horrified by that. So call your senators, call your congressmen, join us as we fight back on this. There will probably be more to come. And we're going to have to keep our guard up. But this is one of those moments where we have to understand what they're trying to do. And buried in all of that, I really do feel like Bree. I really do feel very strongly the firing of the Jags is the hidden key, you guys. They wanted to bury that. JJ, can you bring that press release up for me again? Sorry, I'm throwing JJ through the paces. It's very small, I admit. Can you make it full screen, JJ? You can see, just look at that tiny little line there, the very bottom. Okay. We're also requesting nominations for judge advocate generals for the Army, Navy, and Air Force. The second to last line, you guys, that's not a coincidence. They literally hid in the very bottom of this press release. They're replacing all three of the top lawyers of the armed services. And if your journalist, if your congressman, if your favorite pundit doesn't get that, you need to educate the shit out of them fast. They're firing the head generals, but more importantly, they're firing the head lawyers. Why would you fire the head lawyers, Pete? Why? Because you want to do illegal shit. With that, I'll let you get back to your Friday night. We've talked for a while. Look, folks, if you're not following us already, you need to follow us now. It's votevets.org. There's 2 places I want you to go to that website. Look, I'm not going to lie to you guys. We have the fight of the world ahead of us. VoteVets is leading that fight, okay? We're helping get people elected. We just gave a massive donation to Abigail Spanberger. We're going to do a lot more of that to get veterans, the right veterans elected to office and those support national security. We're going to be doing ads to fight this insanity. We do need your support. So I'm asking you at this moment, in this dire moment, to go to that donate button on the votevets.org website. Give us a hit. See if you can give us a little bit of money so we can keep this fight up. I'm telling you right now, folks, this stuff is real. Right next to the one, you see the arrow on the screen right now, the take action button. Click on that. We've got a lot of stuff going on. We're going to be organizing. And one that's not going to be on screen is we are collecting the stories of military veterans, military members, family members, anyone affected by these outrageous firings and job cuts. 5,800 civilians will be fired next week by the DOD. They're going to lie and say that they weren't competent or their jobs weren't important. But if we've learned anything in the last 2 weeks, Doge is going to fire anybody, and then they're going to figure out they're actually really important, like the people that do nuclear security, and we're going to have to fight to get their jobs back for them. So we are looking for those stories. There's a tip line we've set up. It's votevets.org/DOGE-tip line. That's votevets.org/DOGE-tip line. You can go to our tip line. Thanks, JJ. You're the best producer in the country. JJ is always on it. He's picking stuff up as I talk. They are going to go to our tip line. If you've been affected by these firings, folks, this is it. This is the fight we predicted. This is the fight we warned you about. This is the most worst case scenario we were worried about. They're firing the generals. They're firing the lawyers. There's not very good reason. If they can come up with a good reason to fire these folks in the dead of night or Friday night, I'd love to hear it. But you won't, because they replaced the Washington Post. They replaced the New York Times. They replaced CNN in the White House or the Pentagon with freaking Breitbart, okay, and Steve Bannon in the Pentagon press room. So we won't get the truth from Pete Hegseth, but you'll get it from us. So if you're not following us already, it's votevets.org everywhere. VoteVets on social media. I'd really love you to go to our YouTube channel. We're trying to build our numbers there. That's the VoteVets channel on YouTube. We got a lot more breaking news. I've got a feeling you're going to have to put up my face a lot from now on, because there's going to be a lot more of this coming. With that, I'll let you go on a Friday night. This is the fight, folks. We predicted it. We didn't want to have to face it, but here we are. We're fighting for our democracy. I'm glad you're with us. Thanks for joining me tonight. Have the best weekend.